I'm not chewing stuff this morning. Excuse me. There we go. A little frosty out this morning, but altogether fine. I'm going to start expanding on some of the things that I was talking about yesterday. And I just was sort of going back through what I said yesterday, and went, oh, okay. Well, I want to talk about being able to. As we go. How much faith we put in other people, and it's not necessarily faith that I'm talking about. It's how much we rely on other people's words, deeds, and stuff like that to make us feel better about ourselves, obviously. And it's I keep searching for words. It's an interesting thing that we do as people, that we are taught from a very early age. Well, I suppose, okay, let's take a look at it from the natural perspective. Naturally, as children, we look towards our parents, our peers, to be able to give us cues on what we need to do. We're born little learning machines. That's what we do. We mimic, we find out what it is that we need to do, and we find out what it is that feels better, and so on. So, being that we're learning machines, we learn everything that's going on around us. So we learn to look for approval from everybody else, right? And not only that, we're taught that approval is a good thing, right? I mean, our parents are like, oh, good boy, or oh, good girl, oh, yeah, you're so cool. And we look for that enthusiasm to help us gauge that we're doing the right thing. So, I mean, again, if you're looking at somebody, I mean, in this case, or even something, if it's a dog or anything that is looking to learn something, they are looking for positive aspects of what they're doing. So, as a child, that's what we're doing. We're waiting for positive feedback from other people to know that we're doing the right thing, okay, or the thing that we should be doing. Which is why kids are so confused when they do something, and then the parents get upset. Huh? Well, yeah, I just did that. And they have no clue what is right or wrong. They only judge that based on what they see, what they hear. So, I mean, it's no wonder that we get some people that are really, really messed up because their parents are just really messed up, right? And their signals are all wrong. And everybody has a different way of being taught. Their parents were Jewish, their parents were Muslim, their parents, it's Christian. And not only that, each parent is taught differently by their parents. And so it's not just generally you're a Muslim, it's not just generally you're a Christian. You're a specific Christian, right? You're a specific Muslim. You're a specific atheist. You're a specific Buddhist. You're not every Buddhist. Every Buddhist doesn't follow the same techniques or the same rules. They all have general rules that they follow, but each individual person also has the filters of everything that their parents taught them, everything they learned as they grew up. And when we're talking about learning and growing up, remember, we were learning machines, and we were taking cues from everything around us. It's sort of like reading in context, right? We're really, really smart little computers, and our brain works very fast, works to extrapolate things, and so we will make inferences based on what we see and everything that's going on around us. Now, lots of those inferences are unconscious. Lots of those inferences we don't even consider that we even know, even at the time, or even later. I mean, unless you're being aware of yourself, you're doing the self work to be able to be aware of what those tiny little things that you learned as a kid are. So anyway, we're these learning computers. We take everything that's going on around us and we put it into this little package that we say, oh, what is right, what is wrong? And it's not what is right, really. What really happens is what feels good and what doesn't feel good, right? And we simplify it. If we do this way, then somebody pats me on the head or gives me praise, or I get that positive feedback, which is what I'm looking for, encouragement, then it feels good. It feels fantastic when that happens. This comes back to some of the stuff I was talking about yesterday on happiness, right? It feels good. The other, getting slapped upside the head, getting yelled at, it doesn't feel good. So as a child, we are basing right and wrong based on feeling good and not feeling good. And it just doppels over into our adulthood. Although we're a little bit more sophisticated computers in adulthood because we've come to conclusions and justifications we couldn't as a child, we still have the same idea. It's a feel-good or not feel-good thing. So, what I'm getting at right now is where we come from as children and getting that positive feedback and all of that stuff doppels over into being an adult because that's what we were trained as, right? Our adults didn't know how to teach. They just knew how to emulate teaching. They didn't. There was some of them that understood or innately understood how to teach certain things because their parents taught them or they learned it even in their adulthood. They say old dogs don't learn new tricks or whatever that is. Yes, they can. The difference is they learn it via experience and understood what in that situation felt better than what did before, right? Anyway, we're more sophisticated, but we learned as kids what felt good, what didn't feel good. And we bring this into our adult life. And we're doing exactly the same thing. What feels good, what doesn't feel good. And we're still looking to our peers and our betters, I guess, like our bosses and stuff like that, to validate who we are, right? To be able to give praise or not give praise, right? And the whole idea about what I'm doing, the talking and all of that stuff in this is that how to get through that to a point where you're in choice. Because what you're doing by relying on everybody else, you're giving them the power to be able to make you feel, which is kind of a misnomer because nobody makes anything. It's a choice that you make. You choose to give this away, even though you don't realize that you're choosing to give it away. You choose to give away this power to these people, and then it gets back to you, and they're, manipulating you. They've got their prejudices that don't fit with yours, blah, blah, blah. I mean, this doppels into the gamut of relationships, from friendship, from acquaintanceship, to just passing people on the street, to the deep relationship of a loving couple, just all the way through it. Everybody's out there giving their power to these people and hoping that these people will get back to them and say, you're good. You just go get them, tiger. Okay? And a lot of the time, these people have their own personal agendas, just like you. I mean, you and me, we have our personal agendas of what we want, what we think is right, and, all of that stuff. So, and a lot of people, even though they say, well, I want what's best for everybody, the truth is they don't. They want to put a good face on it, and they want everybody to believe that, and they want to even believe it themselves. But a lot of the time, it's more self-centered. It's like, oh, well, screw you, But they do it in such a way that it makes it look like they care. And anyway, so, I suppose you can get my point. I'm sort of going off on a tangent, but it is, you're dealing with a lot of people that are self-centered, just like you, as opposed to somebody that, like you, who wants to be self-actualized, right? Well, self-actualization is not something that's easy to do. This isn't like, oh, tomorrow you wake up and I'm self-actualized. Again, going on my stuff before it's a repeat process. It's over and over and over again. So anyway, I'm getting off track again. Learning computers as kids, we suck in everything, and we are basing our lives on feeling good or feeling bad. We base feeling good or feeling bad on negative and positive feedback and negative and positive cues, and the way that other people react to other people, right? We watch our friends react to, like Timmy offer that guy gum, and that guy becomes his best friend for the day. And now I understand that if I have some gum and I give it to somebody, that they'll be my best friend for the day. And then when I try it, maybe it works one day, and then I try it the next day, and then it doesn't work. And I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't work? What do you mean it doesn't? And again, we're back to that absolutes thing. We think that all of this stuff, all of these, and I'm going to call them manipulations at this moment, all of these manipulations to be able to get people to give us positive feedback, because that's what we're doing. We're investing time and energy to be able to get these people to give us the positive feedback so we feel good about ourselves, which is quite an interesting transaction, but the way that we work. So I lost my train of thought while I was driving here. Positive feedback. Yeah, well, we invest a lot of time and energy to get positive feedback. So we're manipulating everybody to be able to get us to feel good. And so therefore, we're relying on everybody else for our own internal feeling. And that in itself is just something that we got to get over. We got to stop relying on everybody else. We got to start relying on ourselves and feeling good about ourselves. Now this is where we're going. Again, it's just talking about the way we got here and the way that we rely on everybody else around us to be able to make us feel better. And the truth is, we can feel better every single day if we stopped relying on everybody else to give us feedback so that we feel better. Now, the way around this is to start giving your own feedback. There is no other than you in this situation, really. I'm going to give you kind of an example of some of the stuff I've been talking about. I was talking to a work colleague the other day, and he was saying that, he has this really good work ethic, and if he calls in sick, he comes here to this work, and he feels guilty when people tease him about the fact that he was being sick, and then he tries to justify himself because he feels bad, right? Now, where did he learn this? Mom and dad, or dad maybe even taught him that, well, son, it's a good thing to be able to have a great work ethic and, to be able to go in and do these things and stuff like that. But again, that's a great idea. But we take that as children and we say, oh, this is a good work ethic. But then we put on that other stuff of, well, I'm going to rely on other people to gauge whether I'm living up to this work ethic, right? Which is not a good thing, because other people are going to tease you, they're going to be jealous, just tons of stuff. Because you got what they didn't, so on and so forth. So, here you are, you come to work and you're feeling guilty because you're already feeling guilty. You're already feeling guilty that you didn't come to work because you didn't live up to the ideal of what it is that you think you should be living up to. Already you're there. Then you're trying to rely on other people to get you back out of that guilt. You're trying to rely on them to be able to say, oh, well, you're okay, don't worry about it, right? But then, of course, they go, well, they're jealous or they're upset or they think that you're lying or whatever. However they choose to interpret what it is that you're doing. And so now you're even worse. Oh, look, it's like horrible. Now, the way around this whole gamut is to, one, understand that you're not living up to, initially, your work ethic. Or what you claim is your work ethic. It's not your work ethic. It's somebody else's work ethic that you've taken on. Okay? Your work ethic is, if I'm sick, I'm going to stay home. And you want to have that work ethic, but you feel guilty to have that work ethic because everybody should feel guilty. And I don't know why we were taught that, but we were. I'll go into the stuff that we were taught when we were kids on another session. Again, I'm almost at work. But it's, truthfully, you're not living up to this philosophy in your head. And truthfully, it's not okay not to live up to this philosophy. And therein lies another teaching. We're taught that it's not okay to mess up. And another one that I'll probably talk about tomorrow, about being not okay to mess up. Man, it's okay to mess up. Messing up is fine. Messing up is fantastic. But again, you already feel guilty about messing up, and if other people bug you about messing up, guess what happens? You feel even more guilty. Which in and of itself is probably silly. But we do it anyway. And there's my guy in question. Anyway, more tomorrow. Thanks for listening to another session of deep thought. Talking to himself.